Yes, it is craftable despite the fact that it is alive. This is the recipe for the dried ghast that was revealed by Bobbycraft, who went to visit Mojang as part of their hosting of the Minecraft Live pre-show, but they got to play around with the happy ghast early and they revealed some very interesting details that came from their testing. Also, we have Mojang themselves revealing what they are internally calling the next two updates, which is very, very bizarre and unexpected to a lot of us. But anyway, hello, I'm IvyXToyCat. This is a Minecraft news video, which you can subscribe to see more of, because today we're going to go through all of the bits of news that have released since Minecraft Live, and there's a lot of it, so we're going to have to go fast by starting with the dried ghast, which shocked a lot of people. At Minecraft Live, all we saw was that it was going to spawn naturally in soul sand valleys, and that if you wetted it, it would become a ghastling and eventually a rideable happy ghast. But the big surprise came from Bobbycraft, who made his own video about this just 2 days afterwards, where he actively showed it off and says this.
Durante el show vimos que el bebé Ghast solo aparece en los fósiles de los valles de arena de almas. Sin embargo, ir a este bioma no es estrictamente necesario, pues puedes también craftearlo con 5 bloques de huesos y rodeando con lágrimas de ghast.
My immediate reaction was shock that you would be able to craft new life. Does that mean that you're the father and the crafting table is the mother? But my second reaction was, wait a minute, isn't this actually a feature that's only been seen at Minecraft? How did he get early access to this? And what's essential to note is that this is a YouTube video in the very traditional Minecraft YouTuber style, where he does give this disclaimer a little bit later that it's a mod created by the community.
Claro, lo que estoy usando aquí es un mod creado por la comunidad.
However, he then backs that up by saying,
Este video oficial dentro de las oficinas puedes ver cómo las patitas efectivamente se comunican y se conectan.
Okay, I don't speak Spanish and I'm going to assume you don't either, but this is proof that he is actually at Mojang playing with the real copy, and therefore the mod that he is referencing and using for the clips that you're seeing in this video are going to be based on his experiences using the real update. My instinct is to say that it's a waste of talented modders' time to create something that's going to be in the base game in a few days anyway, but the important thing here is that they did create it based on his experiences with the actual game. And so what's interesting here is you can see direct footage of him showing that the tiny ghasts are going to be in fact tileable and that they're going to be good for decorations, but he doesn't actually show the crafting recipe in the base game anyway. So there is a small chance that maybe lost in translation here, he's just made up this recipe for the sake of what he wants to see, but I think that would be very weird to mix in with the real experiences, and so it looks like the dried ghast is going to be craftable, which is great news for anyone who wants to use it as a decoration. But about 60% of the Minecraft community immediately see that you can craft life and say, wait, what the fuck? No, that makes no sense. You can't be adding that into my Minecraft. And so there is the kind of complexity. And so I'm going to give you the miniature version of the debate as to why dried ghasts should or shouldn't be craftable. Let's start with the should side, because I think the real benefit of being craftable is that you won't need to travel to a soul sand valley. This is a treacherous biome, and crucially, it will only be new soul sand valleys that have them. And so for old worlds that maybe have been playing, let's say for 12 years or above, but let's just say any old world before this update, if you've explored your Nether, it's going to be hard to find a soul sand valley, and particularly it's going to be hard to find a lot of soul sand valleys if you want to get a lot of these, like dried ghasts. And also this makes it very useful for multiplayer worlds. Even if you create a multiplayer world after this update, if everyone else in the world has gone to every soul sand valley within 1,000 or 5,000 blocks, it makes your job of getting one of the mobs you might really want to be very, very difficult. I think that is the biggest case for making dried ghast craftable. If you want these to be all around people's worlds, if you want them to be even theoretically usable as a decoration for the floor, this is how you need to do it. But the bad news is that yes, Steve and the crafting table are able to create brand new life together. This is something we just haven't seen anywhere. I mean, imagine crafting a chicken by using seeds and feathers together. I think that people would immediately dismiss that as being entirely too weird as a recipe, and so that is probably why people immediately react the same way to this. I also think that a lot of people love the idea of the dried ghast precisely because it is a pet that you have to venture for, and every other pet or tameable mob in Minecraft also involves the exact same process. I mean, even the camel until recently, you had to go and find a desert village. You can just go to a desert, and again, until the Spring in Your Life update tomorrow, so I guess even right now, this is something that Minecraft just has as a fact of life. You shouldn't be able to craft your way out of having to explore, and that is kind of what you can do right now, which is very bad. As to the end result and what it actually will mean, I think ultimately Minecraft does have to make a decision about whether a block like this should be something that is rare and valuable, or whether it should be renewable. However, if they are going to make it renewable, I think the more thematic way would be if you could say breed two ghasts together and they'd give you dried ghast, and even though that weirdly would be more in tune with the rest of the game, it would then feel very strange that you're breeding ghasts and then taking their babies to use as decorations, so maybe actually crafting it makes sense in that context, or maybe indeed you could argue that if you craft a dried ghast, you can use it for decoration, but it shouldn't turn into an actual ghastling. I think there is a lot of space for debate on this one, and I'm very curious to see what Minecraft actually do, because first of all, they could respond to the community feedback, and second of all, there is a chance that this was a reach, this was an assumption from Bobby Craft, or the modding team behind whatever mod he showed off, and I'm very curious to see what Mojang decide to do. But you know what, speaking of what Mojang have decided to do, here is a very, very interesting little bonus for this. I don't know that you've seen this already, apparently a lot of people did, because I got a comment on my video yesterday talking about the Vibrant visual update, and the comment was from J Master, who says in the survey they called it Vanilla Game Drop Vibrant Visuals, which implies it might be its own drop. But I had never heard about this before, and so I asked them to share the survey, and just for the sake of this, I want to point out, despite the fact that they have publicly posted this survey on their own Discord, they do say before you fill it in that you cannot disclose the existence of this survey to anyone else. And so again, it wasn't J Master who provided these screenshots. They do not breach any confidentiality statements. It was a different subscriber. But what's interesting is that different subscriber points out this screen as being the most interesting. And to catch you up on why that is, basically, we are unsure about what Minecraft are going to call their next update. Not just in terms of the name, which tends to come out just a few days before, but also in terms of literally the version number. Minecraft used to have it be very clear that any major update was a major version number, and so 1.19, 1.20, 1.21, and so 1.22 should be the next one, but the winter drop kind of messed this up because it could have been a major update. In fact, I would say should have been. It added quite a few major features, but they decided to call it 1.21.50 or 1.21.4 for Java. This is because they see this as a game drop and therefore smaller than an update, but it means that it's very hard to work out what is the size of the next update going to be, and therefore what is the version number. Right now, the majority of the community does not refer to updates as drop to 2025, but they instead refer to it as 1.22 or 1.21.6 if Mojang clarify that that's what it's going to be. But right now, they haven't been very clear about that, and for Java, they literally won't be until closer to release, and so we're only going to find out what the version number is going to be when they actually put the update out to us in betas and when they take it out of the experimental toggle, which means genuinely this could be 1.21.90, it could be 1.21.100, or it could be 1.22. Even more complicated is the fact that, like this person mentioned, there are actually two separate updates we're talking about, and I figured on yesterday's stream that the way this logically makes the most sense is that the vibrant visuals, literally overhauling the entire game's graphics, something that's been in progress since 2023, I said 2013 in yesterday's video, but it's been in progress for years now. If that's not 1.22, then nothing ever will be. But what kind of complicates this view is the fact that this official Mojang survey says which of the following segments do you remember seeing during the Minecraft live broadcast, and then they list all of the segments, then following up by saying, I do not remember seeing any of these, which is funny, watching all of Minecraft live and being like, I have no recollection of anything happening, but particularly they reference the Vanilla Game Spring Drop, that's the Spring to Life update as we now know it, and then they also reference Vanilla Game Drop Vibrant Visuals, and then Vanilla Game Drop Happy Ghasts. What's interesting is in the show, I went back and checked a few times, they don't call the Vibrant Visuals a drop or an update anywhere, kind of leading to the idea that it might be 1.22, and also during the show, they reference how there's only going to be 4 game drops in 2025, or at least they show that on the calendar, and so this means one of two things. Either the 2 vanilla game drops are going to be separate, one in the summer, one in what Americans would call the fall, and the rest of the world would call autumn, and what's interesting therefore is that there's going to be one of these updates in 3 months and one in 6 potentially, or that they're going to be the same game drop together, but it is going to be a game drop. Or Mojang are just using the term game drop until they later work out that something's an update, or they'll still call it a game drop and it'll be 1.22, or honestly, they could just make up their own name. Instead of calling it 1.21.110, they could call it 1.21.Allen and it would make just as much sense. And so as a result, that is something that we now know Minecraft has referred to in their own surveys, these two things as separate, at least for the sake of the survey, which to be fair is filled with the sorts of typos that make you question what's going on, as well as the weird legal advice about not sharing a survey, which they then themselves decided to share on their own Discord, but point for another time. The interesting thing here, though, that I want to take away from this is that I think that 1.22 still makes sense if these game drops are combined, but are they going to be combined if they're listed separately? That is the interesting question that I guess we have to grapple with over the coming betas. Speaking of the coming betas, we have some fun release news news, but while we're going into the fun bits today, here's something very interesting that I saw from the Steam subreddit, but applies to every video game that has any presence in the European Union. The European Commission and national authorities are going to take action to protect children from harmful practices in video games. Specifically, you can't have direct appeals to children in advertisements, you can't use pressure techniques such as purchase through limited time practices to unduly influence children to purchase in-game virtual currency, and crucially on this point here, you cannot have a lack of clear and transparent information adapted to children about buying and using in-game virtual currency, which would lead consumers to spend more than they intended to. This is particularly an issue that Minecraft itself faces because, well, I think it's very hard to argue when you make a Hello Kitty Minecraft DLC that isn't going to be targeting children, and particularly if we look at the price of it, you can see that you have to spend this amount of money and then you're going to end up with mine coins back because you can't buy the right amount of currency. It falls afoul of two of these rules, and so this is a big problem, except not right now. This is an EU directive, and trying to explain the European Union is a much bigger task than a Minecraft video can do, but long story short, the EU isn't necessarily an entity that creates laws, but they do have the caveat that they will start enforcing this if companies don't follow it. So in other words, it's a guidance right now for member states to apply, but it might become actual law if member states don't apply it or it doesn't become effectively enforced, which is a very, very big deal potentially for Minecraft. Anyway, speaking of things that are a big deal for Minecraft, I think it's important to note that there is an update coming out tomorrow, and maybe just an hour afterwards, we have the Minecraft Live server event where you can get yourself a brand new cape. This is one of the most hype weeks for Minecraft we've had in a while. We've got literally an update coming out tomorrow, and we've got the live event, and then we've got potentially a beta the day after, and then we've got the April Fool's Day snapshot, plus the Minecraft McDonald's collab, plus then we've got the Minecraft movie and the Minecraft live thing. It's going to be a crazy couple of weeks in the Minecraft world, just like how it's a crazy time for me to be a dried up Ghast. Soon you won't need to be a Minecraft skin, you'll just be able to craft it. This is one of the most interesting decisions that Minecraft have made, and yeah, if you haven't already heard, this is on top of being able to stand on this mob. It's going to be one of the most unique things they've added to the game in a while, which means that maybe, just maybe, that represents the start of what could be 1.22, or it could be two entirely unconnected game drops like Minecraft have hinted, and also we have what might have to be Minecraft making some changes to the marketplace because of legal directives in the European Union. Anyway, with that said, I am excited for tomorrow. I will be streaming the Minecraft movie live event as soon as it comes out. I hope that it's possible, even if challenging, to get the cape on day one. It's just that previous events have made that seem like it's not necessarily a guarantee, and so we'll be playing it live regardless, having fun with that, after a video about the update tomorrow. And also, I want to make sure I get that, I want to play around the update in my Let's Play world almost as soon as possible. I've got some fun ideas to do with the Firefly Bush and the, I think the Lodestone will be a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm going to have a lot of fun with that one. I hope you enjoy the fun ride we're going to go on over the next couple of weeks, some of the craziest for Minecraft news in a while, and I look forward to seeing you over the course of that. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay.